He had already taken a step forward when he stopped. His hand was halfway to the door handle. The room felt smaller than it had a moment before. Not crowded, just closer somehow. The air held still around him, like it was waiting for something he hadn't noticed yet. The photograph lay flat on the table beside the door. He had seen it there before, many times. It had always been part of the surface, like the wood grain or the faint scratch near the edge. He passed it without looking. He moved around it the way someone moves around furniture that has always been in the same place. Now his fingers hovered above the handle, and he didn't turn it. The photograph was nothing unusual. A simple frame. Thin, slightly dull at the corners. It held an image that had never changed. A face caught in stillness. Eyes looking somewhere just off to the side. He shifted his weight back. The quiet in the room deepened. There had been no sound to interrupt him. No voice. No sudden memory rushing in. Just a pause that stretched longer than it should have. A pause that did not explain itself. He lowered his hand. His gaze moved toward the table without fully deciding to. Not quickly. Not urgently. Just a slow turn of the head, as if something had gently pulled it a few inches to the left. The photograph stayed where it had always been. Light from the window rested on the glass. Soft and even. It blurred part of the image, hiding one corner in brightness. The rest remained clear enough. Clear enough to see the curve of a cheek. The line of a mouth that seemed almost about to speak. He stepped closer to the table. It was a small step, barely a shift, but the distance between him and the photograph shortened in a way that felt unfamiliar. He usually kept space between himself and that part of the room. His breathing changed slightly. Not heavier, not louder, just slower. The moment held. Nothing moved except the faint reflection in the glass. And even that felt delayed, as if it belonged to another second that hadn't fully arrived yet. His hand did not reach for the frame. It remained at his side. But he did not turn the door handle either. His hand moved away from the door completely. He let it fall to his side, then slowly turned his body toward the table. The photograph did not shift. It lay in the same quiet position, its frame touching the wood at the same angle it always had. He took another step. The floor did not creak. The room did not respond. Everything remained as it was, except for the narrowing space between him and the table. He stopped an arm's length away. For a moment, he only stood there. His eyes traced the edge of the frame first. The thin border. The small line where dust had gathered in the corner. He noticed details he had never bothered to see. The faint smudge on the glass. A tiny scratch near the top. He reached forward. not to pick it up, just to touch the edge. His fingers rested lightly against the frame. He did not lift it. He did not adjust it. He simply let his fingertips stay there, as if confirming it was solid. The glass felt cool. He looked at the image more directly now. The face in the photograph remained still. The eyes were turned slightly away, caught mid-glance. The mouth held something close to a smile, but not fully. Not open, not closed. He leaned closer. His reflection began to overlap with the image. For a second, both faces existed in the same thin sheet of glass, one layered over the other. He blinked. His breathing slowed again. There was no rush of memory. No clear sequence forming. Only a faint tightening in his chest. Subtle and hard to name. He had seen this face before. Not just in passing. Not as a background. But somewhere closer. His fingers pressed a little more firmly against the frame. The photograph did not move. The moment did not break. And something inside him shifted slightly, as if a door had opened just enough to let in a thin line of light. He did not lift the photograph. Instead, he bent slightly, bringing his face closer to the glass. The reflection sharpened. His features settled over hers, then slipped away as he adjusted his angle. He tilted his head a fraction to the right. The eyes in the image aligned differently now, closer to his own line of sight. He stayed there. His fingers slid from the edge of the frame to the table surface, resting flat against the wood. The coolness of the glass remained inches away. The face in the photograph did not change, but something about the distance did. He narrowed his eyes, not in suspicion, but in effort, as if trying to bring into focus something that had always been slightly blurred. The curve of her cheek felt familiar in a way that unsettled him. Not because he remembered clearly, but because he almost did. He straightened a little, then leaned in again, repeating the motion without realizing it. Closer, slightly back, closer again, each time expecting something to settle into place. It didn't. His mouth parted as if he might say something. No sound followed. The room remained quiet, but the stillness no longer felt neutral. It pressed gently against his ribs. He let out a slow breath through his nose. His hand hovered near the frame once more. This time his thumb brushed lightly against the glass, tracing a small arc over the edge of her shoulder in the image. The gesture was careful, almost hesitant. He paused at that point. His thumb stayed there. A flicker passed through his expression. Not large, not dramatic, just a tightening at the corners of his eyes. He stepped back half a step. The image remained on the table, untouched except for the faint warmth left on the glass. He looked at her again, and this time, The familiarity did not feel distant. It felt late. He did not step closer again. He stayed where he was, half a step back from the table, as if that small distance now mattered. The photograph rested in the same place. The light on the glass had shifted slightly, but the image beneath it remained steady. Her face held the same unfinished expression, the same almost smile. His shoulders lowered. The recognition had settled, not like a shock, but like a weight placed carefully in his hands. He knew the line of her jaw. He knew the way her eyes turned slightly away from the camera, as if distracted by something just beyond the frame. He knew it because he had once stood in front of that gaze. Not in a photograph. In real time. His chest tightened again, but he did not reach for the frame. He did not lift it to study it closer. He did not call her name. He simply stood there, letting the moment stretch to its full length. The door behind him remained closed. His hand no longer hovered near the handle. It hung loosely at his side. Fingers relaxed now, as if the urgency from earlier had dissolved without him noticing. The room felt different. Not louder. Not brighter. Just more final. He looked at the photograph one last time, not searching now, not trying to recover anything. The effort had left him. What remained was quiet understanding. He had seen her before. He had known her voice. And somehow, in the passing of ordinary days, he had allowed that recognition to fade into the background of his own life. Now it had returned, only in stillness. He turned slightly toward the door again, but he did not move. The photograph stayed on the table, unchanged. Not every memory is clear, but some never leave. They remain quietly, waiting for an ordinary moment to return. If this story brought something back, it has done enough.